All right, for more on this story, I'm joined by Soweto Electricity Crisis Committee member Trevor Ngwane. Trevor, thanks for your time. It's so heartbreaking listening to that gogo that Masego spoke to saying that she would rather die because she's suffering. Do you believe any of the election promises you're hearing in Soweto regarding this issue or not?
Well, the ANC has totally failed the people of Soweto and of South Africa with respect to electricity. So I think that the people, after 20 elections, promises each time, they've lost hope. Not only have they lost hope, they have lost trust. And also losing hope means they are now hopeless, as you could hear from that old lady there. So the situation is terrible, demoralizing, and traumatizing.
So talk to us about the number of months you've been without electricity, because I see all of these figures saying 2 to 3 months, some saying up to 6 months. How long has it been?
Well, fortunately, Shahan, I'm also an academic, so I'm busy with a research studying this issue. So there's two issues. There's load shedding and something called load reduction. And then there is also damage to the infrastructure in the sense that when there are collapses, for example, a mini substation explodes, then it takes time for Eskom to fix it. So it varies, and this is the frustration. There is a lot of uncertainty. So for example, with load shedding, you can be loaded every day, twice a day, or once a week for 3 days. And then load reduction, it can be 4 hours. And then also with the breakdown of the infrastructure. I know of a community of Sun Valley in Pimville. They've been without electricity for 1 full year. In Shawelo, another community, it was 6 months. In Dube, it was 3 months. So it varies to an extent that you would be living this side of the road with electricity, with your neighbors across the road not having electricity for days, weeks, months on end.
So what seems to be the problem outside of that, right? Because in Masego's story, she says that Eskom says it's actually owed billions by the municipality, which is why it's not budging on this issue. Between your discussions, Eskom and municipal officials, where are you now? Where does that stand?
Shahan, I've theorized this. I call it energy racism. As you know that when Eskom was built, it was during colonialism, during apartheid. So there was electricity in the white suburbs, but it was dark in black villages, black townships. So that attitude of thinking that, the black working class, the poor, the poorest of the poor deserve less continues in South Africa. And also it is now mixed with a class politics. So because you are poor, it means you don't have money to pay. It means even if you do get electricity, you use less. So less resources are directed to black working class areas. If a transformer or a substation, breaks down in Sentin, within the hour, within 2 hours, it is fixed. So this is the real problem.
Yeah, I get you. So let's talk about the election promises a bit more, right? Because you know that the ANC had its election manifesto yesterday. Some officials within the party said that they hope to have electricity restored to Soweto within a month. And we also heard the president mention electricity in Soweto in his speech. So are you buying any of that, or do you think it's just empty election promises?
It is real empty because it's not even based on reality. I mean, Shahan, I've just explained to you now. Now you understand. There is no way you can say, I'm going to bring electricity back to Soweto within a month. As I've said, it varies. 88 houses in Pimville haven't had electricity for 1 year. The other section, electricity goes twice a day. So the problems differ. You know, it's so bad. So it cannot be that I'm just going to bring electricity back, you know, within the month. I think what is really required is for the ANC to take full responsibility for its past failure to lift even a finger to help the suffering people of Soweto and in other townships and villages in South Africa. I think the ANC has to approach electricity as a basic necessity. You know, it must stop commodification of electricity. Electricity must not be a good which is, you know, bought and sold to make a profit. But the ANC is continuing with that attitude. As you know, Shahan, that, you know, the CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter, has announced that he's well on his way of unbundling Eskom into 3 business units. And then the idea there is to privatize, is to invite the private sector, finance capital to invest. So what is going to happen is that now we'll be buying electricity from the banks, from companies who are out to make money. So the problem in Soweto, in South Africa, even for the middle class for that matter, is not going to go away.
Yeah, it really is an infrastructure issue. You're right. So it's not going to take a month. It just goes to show that the politicians who are making these promises are ill-informed. So when it comes to voting then, and since you're also an academic, do you reckon that people in Soweto are going to go out to vote in the local government elections, given that they've lost all trust in political parties?
Well, remember that the president of the country, Ramaphosa, was embarrassed because he was campaigning in Naledi and the people tried to disrupt his campaigning. So the people are real angry because they feel like they are treated as voting fodder. They are only remembered during voting time. But at the same time, people fought very hard. Many people died for the vote. So there is that bit of, you know, a two-way thinking. Some will stay away from voting, others will want to vote. But many don't want to vote for the ANC. The problem is that they don't have a viable solution. That is why already we can see that many people have not registered to vote, and then many will keep away from the polls. Some, of course, will still vote for the ANC, but I imagine that, you know, with it will get less votes than usual.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Soweto Electricity Crisis Committee member Trevor Ngwane.